You are listening to Zen and the Art of Triathlon.
Well, hey there, all you triathlon freaks and geeks, and welcome to another great episode of Zen and the Art of Triathlon, the podcast where we give you tons of tips and tricks to simplify the world's most complicated sport. And we also give you some Zen to improve yourself along the way. All right, this episode we are going to cover a review of the Apple Airpods. These new wireless headphones. Actually record on them at the end of the show, so you can hear what that sounds like. And using them for working out and also just around the house and around the office, and see what you think of those. And I got a pair of them, and I've been using them for I think 2 weeks now. So in-depth review. And then also a quick mention of the Suunto Spartan Sport wrist heart rate training watch and racing watch. It's really cool. Got some of that for you. This one with the that does a heart rate on the back of the watch with the green lasers, so it picks up your heart rate, your pulse through your wrist, and you don't have to wear a heart rate strap. I've been training with that quite a bit lately, so I'm going to give that a quick run through, and then some tips on how to decide when to circle swim or not, or share a lane. With one of you on each side of the lane, when to actually transition over. Apparently there's some discussion about that and some confusion on when's actually good to do that. And then also a real quick rundown of the Grand Fondo that we had around here. There was a 100-miler. I entered the 100-miler and won it, to my surprise, again. And so I'm going to give some quick tips on how I managed to pull that off by a miracle, and so that you can use the same things to have a much better, not just bike racing, but triathlon. I used all the stuff I've learned from Ironmans to do this, and it's really, really cool. And it turned out to be a little bit more of a race than I thought it was at the moment. So let's go ahead and get started with all that. But first, let's kick off some triathlon news. Here we go. All right, we can't possibly cover all the triathlon news, so I've plucked out a few of the really good stuff, the good items out there. Oceanside 70.3 was probably the biggest race recently, with some drama that's worth covering. Jan Frodeno, who is the Ironman champion, world champion from Kona. Has he won twice now, I think? And Lionel Sanders were going head-to-head, and Lionel, this is just a half Ironman. Half Ironman's pretty serious. And Lionel Sanders is king of 70.3s. He is awesome. But so is Jan. Jan's from Germany. Lionel is from Canada. And they've had some back and forth, some friendly, competition. They're both like really, really great guys. And but this was going to be Jan Frodeno is proven to be the best. Lionel Sanders has the potential to be the same or even better. He just hasn't proven it yet. So people were super excited about this race. If Lionel could beat Jan at a 70.3, that would be amazing. And Lionel did win, but only because Jan Frodeno had a flat tire, and he tried changing it, I think, twice, and then eventually just gave up. I think he rode the rest of the way, but just kind of sandbagged it into the transition area when he was done on the bike, and called it a day. And this is really, really disappointing. There was much consternation about Jan and all of his flats, and what the heck is he doing? So there's several things that I picked up on. One is he's using some kind of prototype tire, which means it's questionable, right? Because if it was actually good enough, it wouldn't be a prototype anymore. That's just a fact. And also, he had somebody, and this is just somebody else saying this, but I get a lot of this from Slow Twitch, slowtwitch.com forums. Somebody said that they did some calculations, and it seems to be on average he gets a flat like every 56 miles during races, and that's just too much. So I don't know if that's true or not, but it does seem like he gets a lot of flats with either these tires or other tires, and then somebody pointed out maybe it's his habit of the way he races. He's careless and hits things. But maybe that's why he's so fast. I mean, the more careless you are. I think it was Mario Andretti that said, I don't think it was him, but it was somebody that said wrecking is racing, and you got to be on the edge of control, almost out of control. So maybe Lionel's hitting potholes and being careless, to go faster, and then he ends up pinch flatting and maybe going through gravel when he shouldn't, picking up broken pieces of glass and stuff like that. Anyway, that reminds me, the biggest tip ever to avoid flat tires is check your tires for glass, little bits of glass. Take a flashlight, get into a dark room if you can. Take a flashlight, hold it at an angle across your tire, and look for glints of light as you slowly spin the tire. Before, and those are pieces of glass, and pluck them out with a piece of kind of like one of those fingernail kind of file things, so it's not too sharp. You don't want to do a knife blade, but you can use a finger file. But you do this before every ride, because actually it takes many miles of riding on glass, often for the glass to finally work its way through your tire and then puncture your tube. And also, I'm thinking about Andy Potts and his choices on tires recently. That's kind of an insider meta kind of thing. But the other thing is, don't get weird on your tires. The consensus amongst all these super fast triathletes, hey, are you middle of the pack? Hey, are you middle of the pack? Would you like to be front of the pack? Are you a back of the pack and just don't even know what to do? Try these tires. Continental Grand Prix 4000s. GP 4000s, and I think they're on version 2. But anyway, they are both fast. It's like super fast, and they have pretty decent flat protection in. It's like the perfect combination. There are tires that are faster, but they'll flat easier, and there are tires that, like gator skins, which are much more difficult to flat, but they're a whole lot slower. And yeah, your tires can actually be slow. They can slow you down a mile per hour or two if you have like really junky tires on your bike. So Grand Prix, Continental makes them. They're called Grand Prix 4000S, or just get Grand Prix 4000s. They are by far the best choice for triathlon, and just stick with that. And then you can get crazy. Those should be your default tires, and then if you want to get weird with it, then consider latex tubes. But that's a whole other show topic. Okay. The pictures of Jan Frodeno changing the flat, you could tell he was using latex tubes because the tube is pink, and they're either pink or green. It seems to be the common colors of the big two brands in latex tubes. Anyway, yeah, my note here says Grand Prix 4000S with latex tubes. People. Just don't stray from that for now. I'll let you know when you should use something different. Okay, another really cool thing is, back to Jan and Lionel. It really sucks that they didn't race head-to-head. Lionel won, which he liked, which was awesome, but he was also disappointed that he didn't beat Frodeno, in a head-to-head match that was an even competition, and everybody wanted to see this happen, to see who was actually the best. And we couldn't get to see who was the best because Jan Frodeno is riding some prototype tires. So, anyway, we got all that, and we have a triathlete won what is arguably the hardest ultra marathon on earth. The Marathons of Barkley, and I guess they call it marathons, or the Barkley Marathons is what it's called, is because it's several, I think it's 100 and something miles, 105 or something like that. But anyway, it's, if you string several marathons, 4 marathons in a row, then you get Barkley. But Barkley was invented in the 1980s, I think, by this guy because of a news story, and it was somebody famous that escaped from a prison in East Tennessee, Northeast Tennessee, and it's beautiful up there, but it's really rugged and really difficult, crazy difficult terrain. Hold on, I'm going to pause here. Got to hydrate. And this guy escaped from a prison at Frozen Head State Park, which sounds, very welcoming. And he was on the run for 5 days in these woods and in these mountains and made it 10 miles in 5 days. That's how disorienting and thick the brush is and just nasty with brambles and all kinds of stuff. Well, anyway, this guy came up with a race course out there, and it's notoriously insane because even to figure out how to apply for the race is difficult. And then the application's only like $1.64 or something, and you have to send in an article of clothing and a license plate. I mean, it's like really ridiculous, this guy. And this guy used to be like the race director used to be a really good runner, but now it seems like he just hates everybody, and he smokes cigarettes while he checks you in to the race. And I can tell you, I've backpacked in the Ozarks in Arkansas, which is very similar, and I grew up in northern Alabama and East Tennessee. Spent lots of summers, and I guess winters there too. And that stuff is crazy. The Ozarks is very similar. It's pretty much the same. And it is so thick and so disorienting. You can't tell where you are because there's no terrain. You can't see the terrain. The woods are just overwhelming. You don't know which way you're facing. You don't know what in the world's going on. And that was on a trail, the Ozark Highlands Trail. And we don't know where the trail goes, which mountain we're on. Maps become almost useless. And so, since 1985, it's run every year, and only 15 people have finished it. You've got 60 hours to do 100 miles, which is insane. Like, that's a huge amount of time. And only, it's so difficult. It's making me wonder if it is 100 miles. Is it 150? I think it's only 100. It's so hard that, only 15 people have finished it. And it's called the race that eats its young because it's almost impossible to finish it the first time. And it takes several tries before people can do it. And this a triathlete won it this year. And what's so cool is, what's so cool, the triathlete won it, and this guy, I think his name is it John Kelly? John Kelly. And, John Kelly he got second at Ironman Maryland. So this guy is a legit, and Ironman Maryland's one of these stupid Ironmans where they don't have a pro field. And they, so he got second, but as an amateur, at Ironman Maryland. And he said in an interview that he grew up practically across the street from this state park, which is really odd. And I'm thinking your home field advantage, if I lived across the street from that state park, and the whole thing is it's notoriously difficult to find your way around the state park, I'd enter the race and go home on the weekends to visit my where I grew up around there and just camp and walk around that terrain. So I was really familiar with it. It's 5 loops, so it can't be that big of a course. Maybe 20 miles of 5 20-mile loops. And so it's not something that you couldn't get really familiar with and kind of know where you are. But even that, he still only finished with a few minutes, I think, left. Maybe it was 30 hours. I can't remember now. Let's see if we've got it here in my article thing, because I keep feeling like I'm misspeaking here. But anyway, what's so funny is on Slow Twitch, which is notorious for being snarky, somebody said, this guy, He got second in Ironman Maryland. He's got a PhD in electrical engineering. He won Berkeley. He's the head of a company in Washington D.C., or he's a VP or president or some director or something. And I'm trying to think while I type slow Twitch. The article's on slowtwitch.com. And somebody goes, "Is there anything this guy can't do?" And somebody goes, "Well, win an Ironman apparently," because he only got second. I thought that was so funny. So my favorite snarky comment of the year. Let's see, 55. All right, I'm back. Yes, it is a 60-hour time limit to do just barely over 100 miles. The winner in this one finished in 59 hours and 30 minutes. So only made it 30 minutes under. And just taking a few short naps at points. And then, dude, a regular 100 miler, like Western States and whatever, people are finishing it in 18 hours and stuff. I don't know the exact time, but imagine how much more difficult this is. And they also have a fun run. It's 5 loops, and the fun run, quote unquote, is 3 loops. This guy, the race director, is just absolutely sadistic. Anyway, so it's a really cool article on Slow Twitch, all about it, and a little bit about his training. He trains by commuting to work. But the big takeaway from this that I want to share with everybody is you can be a triathlete, and then in the winter, you're actually really well trained to do some ultra running. And ultra running is typically on trail, so it's kind of low impact and fun. And it gets you out in the woods in the colder weather and running, which is way more tolerable than biking in the cold. And it's definitely a fun thing to do. And you think, well, I'm just a triathlete. I can't do ultra running. No, you can be a triathlete and do ultra running in the winter and win the hardest ultra marathon in existence. I bet you the ultra runners are like pissed that a triathlete came in and won the thing. They view ultra runners, triathletes aren't as bad as CrossFitters, but we do talk about triathlon just like way too much. How do you know somebody's a triathlete? Just give them 5 minutes and they'll tell you. Well, CrossFitters are like the worst, and then next in line, just almost as bad as triathletes with all their Ironman logo gear all the time out there on the trails. It annoys the trail runners, which is kind of funny. And they're hard to annoy. They're really laid back. So anyway, I'm a huge fan of trail running. Done a bunch of it myself, love it, and can't wait to do some more. So that's a cool piece of news right there. And let's see, do we do the AirPods? Yeah, let's talk about these Apple headphones. Okay, so a while back, Apple announced wireless headphones. I've been using Jaybird wireless headphones, Bluetooth wireless, for a long time. And they're pretty good. Actually, they're pretty great. But I thought I would try these. Ordered them because my Jaybirds were dying. And eventually they got worked in their way into them. I did as much research as I could because these things aren't out yet. And of course, Apple doesn't want to talk too much about something. They play their cards close to their chest, and they don't want to say how waterproof they are, how sweatproof they are. But eventually, reviews started showing up on YouTube. It's the best place to get real reviews of these things, of people, because then you can see how much sweat they're actually getting there. And so, I got a guy kind of running with them, and he's like, it's so hot, and I'm running, and it's like, okay, well, that's great. But are you running in Texas kind of heat, where your ears fill with sweat if you put headphones in your ears, because it just holds on to all that sweat and water. And so somebody did a YouTube video of like submerging them in water for, I don't know, like an hour or something like that. It was crazy. And then running them through the washing machine. And I'm like, okay, you run them, and they worked fine when he got them out. And I was like, all right, dude, you run it through the washing machine. That's pretty good. And then I mentioned it on Twitter, and somebody posted me a picture of them biking in Northern Australia in the heat with just soaked in sweat, and said he's been biking with them for months and they're fine. And I was like, so that's humidity heat, right? And I was like, okay, all right, I'm in. So I got them, And let's see, they seem to be sweat-proof so far. I got 2 weeks in doing some sweaty stuff. And let's see, biking, running. I'm really tempted to try to wear them while swimming, but I'm not going to. But I don't have that much money to blow on these things. They're a little bit hard to lose, but not terribly, because you have an incentive to put them in their little case they come with, because the case acts as a charger. And so what's really cool is you don't need to have both in at the same time. So, and they warn you independently with a little noise that they make that they're running out of battery. Battery seems to be 4, 5, 6 hours, something like that. I wouldn't say 6. I'd say more like 4 or 5. And they, so if you got one that starts going off in one ear, going, hey, it goes tunk, 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 like that. Hey, I'm going down. You could put that one in the charging case while you're still listening to the other one, and they charge up to like 80 or 90% in just like 15 minutes. And so while that one's charging, you continue listening with the other side, and then when after a little while, when the other side dies, you put the first one back in your ear, and that one's got charged for a few hours on it, and then you charge up the other one in the case while you're listening to just one, and then you're all good to go. So that seems actually pretty cool. Hey, you know what? I'm in my car recording, and I'm going to roll down the windows because I'm getting hot. Oh, turn on the air conditioner. It's getting crazy in here. Let's turn down the fan. Let's turn down the fan. Okay, and so far, I really like them. I mean, the only downside is I'm used to the Jaybird. I have the Jaybirds that had the really long battery life, like 6, 7, 8 hours or something like that. So I'm kind of annoyed with how I have to charge these more frequently. But, I mean, it's still pretty great. But the other thing is, if your ears get sweaty, and somebody else I was talking to complained about this, your ears get sweaty while you're running, and they may bounce out of your ears. Oh no, by the way, there's only like one size, so if these things don't fit your ears, you're kind of screwed, except for something I'm about to tell you, a trick. So I ordered these silicone covers that can go over them, and there's a very particular brand I'm going to tell you, because they also have sensors on them that if you pull them out of your ear, they stop playing. And that's an option you can turn off or on, but it's kind of cool. I like it. So you don't want to cover up those sensors. So there's a brand called Spigen or Spigen, Spigen, and they make silicone gizmos for your AirPods. So Spigen Teka, Teka, seems to be in all caps for some reason, RA200, Spigen Teka, Teka, RA200s. They are AirPod ear hooks covers. And what they are, they're like little thin silicone jackets that go over your AirPods. And that provides friction and, I don't know, whatever, enough resistance so they stay in your ears without bouncing out. It's really, really cool. And I got those, I think, on Amazon. Yeah, Amazon. And those actually work really great. Downside of those, the only downside I can find so far, is they won't stay. You can't put the AirPods back in the case to charge. They just won't fit with those little silicone, the real thin silicone jackets over the AirPods. The upside is if your ears were a little bit on the too big side for these, they create a little bit of extra volume and it could block out sound a little bit more. And then on top of that, the other thing I was worried about is biking. You're biking into the wind and you got these little things in your ears, and even with those little silicone jackets, these things are independent of each other. You could be riding into a headwind and then turn your head and then bam, you got an ear facing right into the wind. These things could blow, going downhill, you could blow an AirPod. Sounds like a medical disaster. I blew out my AirPod. You could blow an AirPod right out of your ear, and now try to go find that. I remember one time I lost something on my bike that was technical. I had some small little gadget, and a car right behind me ran over. It was probably a bike computer or something like that. And these things cost like $70, $80, $90 to replace, just one, if you lose one of them. So that kind of sucks. So the other thing I bought, actually I bought it before the AirPods even showed up. I had it because I was excited about this, is this strap that connects to the ends of your AirPods, and then it makes the AirPods attach to each other. And it's a cord. Some people say it's just a little bit too long, but what it does is now your AirPods are connected to each other, and so it makes them kind of like the Jaybirds, where they're not independent of each other anymore. So you could flip it over the back of your neck, and now you can just hang them over your shoulders. If one falls out while you're biking or running, then you're the one that's still in your other ear will catch it, because it's cabled. And then I went mountain biking, which is all kinds of banging around, and I don't have a full suspension. I have a hardtail mountain bike, so you can imagine just bang, 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 and the AirPods stayed in with those ear covers and that silicone strap. Both of these accessories about $10 each, and so now we're starting to add up some dollars. But man, it makes working out like so cool. I've noticed on the stationary trainer, I don't need anything on them; they just stay in. I don't even really think about it. So anyway, I give a big thumbs up to these Apple AirPods. I'm loving them. Another little trick I did to make them look different, so I don't look like I have two tampon strings or two Q-tips sticking out of my head, is because I have this like a 1.5 inch kind of like sticks that stick out from them, and they're supposed to point down and in. But I took pieces of electrical tape and put them around the ends. I did it lengthwise, and all it does is leave a tiny little white strip on the inside, but that's facing your head, so people can't see it. And so it made them white in my ears, and the part that sticks out on my ear black. And so they just look different. They don't look like Apple AirPods. They look like something else. And then people, I think they're just confused. They don't even know what to say to me. And then I'm gone. So, but I noticed this because people sell skins where you can decorate your AirPods to make them look different. And I'm like, why even do that? Just get some electrical tape. Seems to work pretty good. And then turn them black. Yeah, so that's that. I definitely recommend them. So far, I'll let you know if I kill them with sweat, because I will be pissed, and I will mention it on the show. Okay, Suunto Spartan Sport Wrist. So I've been working out with a Suunto Spartan Ultra for quite a while now. I guess at least half a year or more. And it's really nice. It's got a sapphire screen, and it's got the titanium ring around it. It's a multi-sport. It does all the different sports. It's got crazy long battery life. Really nice little watch. And it looks way more elegant than the Garmin's. So I like actually wearing it to work. It's got a touch screen on it, which is something you kind of hit and miss. Like I'm just not positive touch screens are the best for triathlons. But once I got used to using it, it's definitely, one way or the other. It doesn't really matter. And it's definitely cool when you're not doing triathlons to have a touch screen, because it's you kind of show off. You're like, check this out. You flick your finger across the screen and it goes. Doo-doo. Anyway, I got myself into a Suunto Spartan Sport, which has a little bit less battery life, but there's a wrist heart rate one. So it's got the green lasers on the back that read your heart rate. And this thing is freaking cool, man. I've never had one of these. And they Fitbit or some other, and there's some Garmin's, and I'm trying to think. There's some other like odd name brand ones that have this. And Suunto dove in, but the cool thing about Suunto's is they're using Valencell, which is considered to be the best heart rate sensor for the green laser. And the downside is you kind of have to figure out how. It doesn't matter which brand. Because I've got a coworker that has a Garmin 235 or something like that with a green laser thing on the back, and she had to learn how to wear her watch too, so it would actually pick up her heart rate correctly because it was reading too high or not at all. And so I've pretty much figured it out. For running, it works way better on my right wrist than on my left for whatever reason. And then this morning was the first time I think I got it to actually work through swimming. And I think Garmin won't do it. They won't enable it. But Suunto, and I think maybe Polar is coming out with one, that they're allowing the heart rate sensor to work in swimming. And of course it doesn't work as well because it's got all this water flowing between the sensor and your skin. But dude, just let people choose, like let it run, and then we'll decide if it's any good or not, and give you feedback, and then you can learn how to fix it instead of just turning it off and go, these people are too dumb. It's like, no, man, just let us use it and we'll decide. And so Suunto's smart. They're like, yeah, we're going to let them use it. And this morning, I think I got it to work in the pool. And that's awesome, man. No chest strap, nothing, man. Just swimming and kicking ass in the pool. Mountain biking, trail running. Yeah, but there's definitely, you have to practice with it and just be patient. With all these, no matter what brand you get of these things, is just be patient. And it's kind of like training a dog, right? The dog really trains the owner. Dogs are only so smart. I mean, some dogs are freaking geniuses, but still, even the smartest dogs are only so smart. You got to teach yourself how to train the dog, right? What works on the dog, kind of like kids. You got to learn what you're doing wrong, and then and to get the dog to respond the way you want. Well, it's very similar with these wrist strap things. They're not broken. I mean, yeah, it's kind of a newer technology, and they're going to get better. But you're doing something wrong if it's not reading you right. And it's kind of fun, like trying to figure out. I like experimenting, like to see how actually it works, and to get it to work. Because, like for running, once I figured out, I tried just moving around. I tried it on my right wrist. It seems to work great for running. It seems to work great for swimming if I wear it on my left wrist and turn it so it's on the palm side facing up. That all of a sudden, that's just worked great. And to get heart rate and not have to wear a heart rate strap is so great. Because especially, I go running around the neighborhood. It's hot. I'm wearing no shirt. And then I got this heart rate strap on. I look like some kind of S&M whack job running around with all kinds of things strapped to my body. And I'm like, you know what? One less thing. I got a Wahoo heart rate strap because it's Bluetooth and ANT, and it's got blinking lights on it to let it, it's working sometimes. And so I just don't need that, And to have just a watch that's picking up my heart rate is so much better. So I'm a huge fan of it. Again, it's a Suunto Spartan Sport wrist heart rate. They also came out, they've got a black one, I think a pink one, and then a really cool, like baby blue, like old Volvo racing color and Mustang racing color. It's really cool. I love it, man. I've found that I'm actually wearing this thing all the time. I can't seem to take it off. All right, let's take a break for a minute and talk about SaltStick. SaltStick.com/ZenTri is where you can get a discount on your own Salt Stick. So Salt Stick is electrolytes that is the same profile as what you sweat out. So if you sweat it out, that's what you actually put back in with Salt Stick. It's really cool. I love it that it's these capsules that you can either take whole, and you can do like while you're riding along, they have this dispenser that you can twist out. That's the one you see all the time. I remember seeing it on Craig Alexander's bike, multiple Ironman world champion, and you can just twist out these capsules and then pop them as you need them. And then there's also the capsule, because they are capsules, you can actually open them up and tap out the salt, but it's not salt, it's electrolyte mix as needed to make your own fuel. I love making my own fuel. I'll make a 3-hour water bottle, fuel bottle. It's got maltodextrin, and I could do maple syrup or honey, and just whatever I want in there. And then I'm like, oh yeah, I need to add some electrolyte in there, so I'll tap in a capsule or 2 or 3 of Salt Stick, and I just really like it. When they approached us, I was like, yes, I will definitely work with you guys to be a sponsor. So you can get your own salt stick by going to saltstick.com and then /ZenTri. And that gets you in the door to get your discount. And while you're in there, make sure you check out these chewables. I love them, man. They're so cool. I keep them right next to my bike right now on the trainer. And they're kind of a citrus lemon lime flavor. And you can just pop one in your mouth and it breaks apart, crumbles apart. Really nice like. All nice like. And yeah, that's a big shout out to Salt Stick. And you go check them out. We should also mention that there's been studies that show that athletes that use Salt Stick finish races faster than their competition, and we want you to do the same. So go check it out. All right, back to the show. And let's see, circle swimming. I wanted to mention that. There's a thread on Slow Twitch where somebody asked, hey, was I a total dick for somebody tried to get in my lane and we were swimming side by side already with two people in the lane. This third person tried to get in and I said, hey, why don't you go get in that other lane over there, because I don't want to circle swim. I've got a workout that's just too difficult I think it's too difficult for people to circle swim with. And the consensus is, it seems to be only in the United States where people get defiant and don't want to share a lane, because apparently in the rest of the world everybody is fine with circle swimming, and this is the rule: one person per lane. And then when you get to two people per lane, can ask the other person, hey, do you want to circle swim or do you want to do side by side? And then when the third person gets in, circle swim. And that's where you go down one side, turn around, and go down the other side. And then once you start circle swimming, you can fit 3, 4, 5 people per lane, maybe 6 people per lane if you're all kind of the same speed. And then just dealing with people, having to pass people and go around people. Dude, we did that on swim team for eons. And it makes you a better swimmer to have to sprint to get past somebody, to deal with traffic. It makes you such a better swimmer. And yeah, it's kind of annoying, but it's also just a fact of life. And don't make people wait to get in. And if somebody's making you wait, this is how you get in. You just hop in their lane and then stand at the wall kind of off to the side while they swim a couple laps, and that sends the signal. They're going to see you. That sends a signal. You're about to circle swim. So then, but that gives them a fair warning, and then you really even shouldn't have to ask. And apparently this is just a problem in the United States, culturally. And it's not like other countries don't have their problems with swimming. I've heard in France, DC Rainmaker said that people love swimming backstroke, and it's absolutely maddening. And they like swimming really lazily, slow, and doing backstroke. And my theory on that is somebody from France must have won the backstroke in the Olympics. And that motivated the whole country and inspired them to all get into doing backstroke. And now your swim lanes are just polluted with backstrokers for no logical reason. Okay, so there's that. And let's talk about the Gran Fondo. Let's see. It's a charity ride. They have a 20. Kai and Emily did the 20 mile. 20, 40. There's a 60 or 70. And then a 100 mile. And there's also a 500 mile gravel mix ride that goes out amounts the countryside for several days. And they had GPS tracking on those people. That was really cool. And the Emily was like, "This is a charity ride. It's not a race." And I said, if they hand out race numbers when I go pick up my packet, then it is a race. And I went and picked up my packet at the bike shop, and they handed out race numbers. And I'm like, it is on. Okay, so and I was really motivated. I was kind of pseudo training for this over the winter because I'm trying to stay out of run races until my feet finish healing up. They're getting closer all the time with plantar fasciitis. So this was my big thing for the spring. So I was kind of training for it. And for a little while, it looked like it might not happen. Like the whole race was going to be canceled. And then they put it on anyway. And so I'm really excited to be out there. And I got first in the 100 miler last year, the inaugural race. So now I got to defend my title. It's like I'm probably the only person that knows that cares that I got first. But I'm really excited, right? So that's the whole thing. I'm really excited, and I consider this to be like a good training day to test out fueling and pacing for Ironmans, to see where I'm at, really, more than anything else. It's just it's just a local charity ride. It's not that big of a deal. But I'm trying to get in, see where I've improved and where I need to improve on doing an Ironman. Okay, so what the thing is I ride it just like an Ironman, and that means I'm doing trying not to stop at aid stations, and I'm trying to simulate like an Ironman where you do rolling through the aid stations and grab water bottles as you go. And to do that, that's not the setup of these things. I don't want to stop constantly and pick up water bottles and take breaks and stuff like that. That is not a good simulator. So what I did is put on a Camelback. Oh, it ended up being 103, 104 miles or something like that. So I put on a Camelback, and then I had 2-3 water bottles, 2 of them filled with fuel, to kind of split it up. And because I wore the Camelback, I only had to stop once for water, and I used... Sorry, phone call. And I used that stop to actually go to the bathroom. So I went to the bathroom, went over to the water dispenser cooler thing that they had, and refilled up my Camelback with more water again, I think. And then got back on my bike and kept on going. And so the takeaway is most road cyclists wouldn't be caught dead wearing a Camelback. And I'm like, well, that's your problem, because it's obviously better to wear one, because I don't have to stop and I can just keep on going. And I had guys, I had a train behind me of several guys all trying to keep up while I was leading the way. And also, I'm not doing the paceline thing where I take turns at the back, and then rotate out to the front, because that is not simulating time trial, non-draft Ironman style. And so I think I had one person take one turn in front of me, and he tried to, and then after a few minutes, I went around him, and then I think that was it, because I'm so used to doing that I wasn't going to try to do the whole pack thing, and I was fine with that. And my intent was to wear them out, and that's where I really did some research. And so along with the Camelback, the other tip I've got is, I got 2 more tips, I think. But one of the other big tips was study the weather. And what I did is I looked, a couple days before, and then also the morning of, I looked at the weather, and we were going to have a headwind on the way out and a strong tailwind on the way back. So riding into the headwind, I really, went 110% into the headwind, and really buried myself. I wouldn't say I buried myself, but I went harder on the way out on purpose, because I knew that on the way back with a tailwind, a pretty strong tailwind, it was going to be really windy that day with a strong tailwind, that I was going to have a push most, like 90% of the time on the way back. And you can only go so fast. And anytime I was tired, well, the tailwind would be pushing me anyway. So it was okay to go harder at the beginning. So the first half of the thing, I went pretty hard. Way harder than I would have if it was even wind. Like say it was a no wind that day. I went a little bit harder than I would have normally. And then on the way back, I was on the verge. I think I started getting a leg cramp even, and I was kind of on the verge of getting cooked. I was kind of worn out, but I had a tailwind pushing me, so it was actually okay. So anytime you go out and do a wind makes such a huge difference on the bike, especially in non-drafting races like Ironmans and such. Really study the wind patterns and see, not the pattern, but what the forecast is going to be. My favorite is Wonderground, which is Weather Underground. type in the city or the zip code, and then go down to the bottom, scroll down to the bottom of the page, and there's a graph along the bottom of the page, and there's a black line with little arrows all on the line, and the arrows are all changing directions all the time along, and it shows like the next coming 7 or 10 days. And it shows you, on the graph, the taller the line is, that's the stronger the wind, and the lower, the weaker the wind. And then the arrow on the line at that moment is where the wind is coming from, which way the wind is going to. And then I was like, oh, the wind's going to be the wind's going to be, in the morning, it's going to be slight wind, like 3-4 miles per hour out of the south. And then in the afternoon, by 10, 11 o'clock in the morning, and by noon, it's going to be 15 miles per hour out of the west, right? And then so plan your ride on that accordingly, your effort that you put out. Because riding into the wind is kind of like riding uphill. It exaggerates whatever you're going into. And if you know your route, a lot of people I know do their local bike clubs, when they go out, they try to pick the route based on, they've got several routes, and they look at the wind. It's really windy here in Texas. They look at the wind for the day, and then they pick the best route so that they have a tailwind on the way back. And that's just so that they have more fun, It's kind of cool. All right, so I ended up crossing the finish line, and first, I was a little bit slower than last year, but I was also way more strategic, and I hadn't trained as much, and I was also about 5 pounds heavier than last year, and also the race was a little bit longer. So I don't know. Now I'm a little bit older, so I'm aging, and it's not quite as fast, but it felt really good. And they had free beer when I finished, and let's see, there was something about it that I wanted to mention. Free beer, and it was nice. Nobody knew. Oh, I met up with some old friends at the beginning and after it was over, but no one really cared, who got first or anything like that, which was also kind of cool, because there's an even bigger race. There's that 500-mile Grand Fondo gravel ride that goes all throughout Central and East Texas. If anybody wants to do that, check it out. It's the BCS Grand, GRAN, Grand Fondo, Great Ride or something like that. Anyway, it was really cool, and I really, really enjoyed it. It was super sweet. I feel like there was something else I wanted to mention about it, but now I can't remember what it is. Let me switch. I got some actual notes on the thing. After your race, you should always take notes, and, well, it looks like I lost them. Wait, here we go. I've got... Where'd it go? Oh, Grand Fondo. I averaged 21.1 miles per hour. About 250 calories per hour, a mix of maltodextrin and MCT oil. Yeah, I did kind of keto, sort of. Been doing lots of keto in training. That's super low carb, really high fat. So we were joking about, Emily and I and anybody else that would listen, joking about how it's not a race, And then it turns out, I looked up on Strava. A few days later, I looked up on Strava. I was trying to analyze my numbers, like what was my average speed, where did I kind of bonk a little bit, where did I run out of power, and where was my power good, and how long was I stopped for that one aid station. And it says, hey, would you like to see other people that did your same ride that same time? And I go, oh yeah. So I click on this one guy. Some guy finished within 2 minutes of me, right? And I was like, holy crap, man, it was a race. There was a guy right on my ass trying to catch me the entire time. So sometimes it is a race and you don't even know it. Oh, here's another thing. I rode on flat pedals. I'm trying to heal my feet, and clipless shoes just put too much pressure on my feet. I can't really move my feet around to give them a break. And so I've been riding on flat pedals. I used a bike course. I downloaded a bike course onto my bike computer so I wouldn't get lost, which was pretty cool. I trained too much before the race because I was just kind of getting excited, I think. And the race start, I remember they go, all right, go. But we weren't really sure. They said go, and a whole bunch of us at the front line kind of looked at each other and go, do we go? And we started. And then I remember I got on my bike and I go, I guess I'm going like that, and started pedaling. And so people were like, oh yeah, I guess we go. And then it was foggy and I couldn't see anything. And I think they misjudged the start time because it was still a little bit dark. Another trick to keep going without stopping to improve your race time is there's a trick to apply sunscreen on the move. And what you do is you get a small sunscreen, I wouldn't call it a container. You buy sunscreen in a small little squeeze bottle. Get the smallest one you can. You could reuse it and put, because that's not very economical to buy those small things of sunscreen. You could probably refill it. And then do the liquid sunscreens. And then what I do is while I'm riding in my bento box or out of my jersey pocket or whatever I'm wearing, I grab the sunscreen while I'm kind of coasting, pedaling. I had a tailwind. That was really easy. And squeezed some of it on my, and this is while I'm pedaling and coasting but I'm moving. That's the whole point. I squeezed some sunscreen on the top of my right thigh and then put the sunscreen back in my jersey pocket. And then so I smeared it all over my right thigh and my knee and the back of my calf while I'm pedaling. The up and down motion of your leg. It's kind of like you keep your hand still, but your leg moves up and down, and that's how you smear the sunscreen around. And then what's left over from that mess, I would put on my right ear and on the back of my neck and on the right side of my face. And then the back of my right hand. I was wearing arm coolers, which kind of protect you from the sun. And then repeat it on the left side. You squeeze some on your left leg, and then while holding your hand pretty much in one place, pedal up and down, and then you can smear around the sunscreen on your legs and on your hand and on your side, back of your neck and on your ears and on your nose and your face and stuff like that. And anyway, the whole point is you got to have some good bike handling skills, and you got to know what you're doing, because your hands are going to get slippery if you don't do it right, and you're going to end up losing control of your bike and crashing. So you got to practice it a little bit and get good at it. But you can apply sunscreen while pedaling, and it is huge to apply sunscreen while you're in one of these races, because you're out there in the sun, and the sun damage is bad enough, right? In fact, that's probably the worst thing. But also, as you start getting a sunburn, it actually detracts from your speed. Your body starts sending a whole lot of resources to deal with this first degree burn that's starting to develop on your body. You start overheating. Your blood is going there. You might start getting a fever and stuff like that. It starts exhausting you. Because you're not protected from the sun, and you will improve your race times and your training days by applying sunscreen while in the middle of your bike ride. And I've been doing it for years while on the move. Now, let's say it was a training day, and it's kind of a lazy training day, and I've got no real agenda. I would stop, pull over and pee, and then put on sunscreen without doing it on my bike, because I don't want to risk actually crashing. There's an elevated risk, not much, but you're elevating the risk of crashing and putting on sunscreen while pedaling. In fact, you're probably elevating it a lot. So it kind of depends on the road and where you are and the conditions and stuff. But man, you definitely want to put on some sunscreen if you can. All right, so that's enough of all this stuff. Let's go ahead and get into the training log. Take you with me while I go out and do stuff. I think I got a little bit of Kai in there talking about mountain biking. Again, just like last episode, he's such a fun interview every time. And also, towards the end, I've got an audio recording of me talking and going on and on and on about how much I love these Apple Airpod headphones. Well, the thing is, I was just recording, and I thought I would record with the headphones on, so that you could, I don't know, it's just like, it was just cool. I'm talking about the headphones while wearing the headphones. The headphones have mics in them, they're Bluetooth headsets. Turns out, for whatever reason, the sound quality recording on this app while wearing those, using their mics, sucks. It's real tinny and thin and whatever. So I still think it's valuable, but I'm putting it as the very last thing on the show. Of course, I'll have like a minute at the very end. I got an announcement of next episode's guest. I haven't interviewed her yet, but if it looks like it's going to come through, which it should, it's awesome. Really, really awesome. So I announced that at the very, very end of the show. But anyway, I understand the sound quality with the Airpods recording is pretty crappy, but I don't know. You know, some people really enjoy they'll listen to anything just to get, it's not the sound quality, it's the content, what's actually being said. So I'm going to leave it in, but just at the very, very, very end. So once you hit that and you can't stand it anymore, you can fast forward or end the podcast. You won't hurt my feelings. It's all right. Okay, so that's it. Everybody hang tight. Let's go ahead and get started with the training log. Here we go.
You are entering the ZenTri training log zone. Huneli.
Hi everybody, my name's Brett, I'm a triathlete.
I decided it's time I got some friends more suited to my status.
But Joe, we've been friends for years.
Hey, we all make mistakes. Come on, dudes, let's go exercise! Exercise! Yeah! I'm gonna do sit-ups till I poop myself!
All right, welcome to a new training log. Start date, March 28th, 29th, I don't know. It's a Tuesday morning, and I'm out for a jog. And I got so much cool stuff to tell y'all. What is up? Glad y'all are back. Oh, okay. As it's warming up here in the northern hemisphere, I'm having a really successful morning run. I wanted to tell you how, so you can do it. It's getting warm. In the southern states, it's already in the 70s and 80s. So I've got a route that I figured out runs parallel. No, not parallel. Tangent. Anyway, to the crosswise to what is usually the hot, humid winds coming off the Gulf of Mexico. I'm here in Texas. A couple hours from the coast, hour. And if it's hot and humid, the wind is coming from the southeast. And I've realized in the summer months running that I'm almost done with my run here. We got another few hundred feet and I'll stop bouncing. Running with the wind, if it's warm, especially if it's warm and humid, cooks you. So for good training and maximum enjoyment, Zen mastery of the art, I've got a course that runs east and west. First you go out east a few miles, and then turn around. We're almost done. And man, it makes a world of difference. I'm actually running into a cross breeze right now. We're done. Let's check the Suunto Ultra. An hour and 13 minutes, 47 seconds, just jogging, real easy. I got my Ziploc bag, sorry about that. I run. I'll check the mileage in a second. Let me stop this thing. And how was it? Smiley face, excellent. Suunto does smiley faces, scale of 1 to 5. Then you go back and look on your calendar and look at it. It's pretty cool. Saved. I'll hear the birds. 7.12 miles, so a 10-20 pace. But overcoming an injury, that's nice. What I figured out I was getting kind of depressed not running, I noticed. And so I figured out how to run, but still heal from my injury, just not as fast. But man, being in a funky mood, a bad mood, it's not the way to go through life. can hear these birds as we go by, walking down my street. And so if I jog slow and on flattish ground, so my plantar fasciitis can actually heal, what stimulates dopamine and endorphins and serotonin to make you happy again, and it's distance. So if I go slow but go long, what feels like long, then I have a mood boost, and you would too, for the rest of the day. Oh man. And so I figured out for a meditation run, so I can actually think. This is a really cool tip, by the way. I finally figured this out. This is really nice. But I also do this before I get in the car. I got 2 apps running on my phone. Focus at Will, which is music, and I put it on, what do I always say? Not ambient. Something chill, Alpha Chill channel, and on the slowest setting and the mildest setting, and that gives you nice music. And then I open up the app Todoist, which is my to-do app, and then I just go. And the meditation music allows your mind to just kind of float. And then I've noticed that if you don't have your to-do app to write down thoughts and things you need to do as they come to you, if you don't have it open, by the time you get it open, if you're driving or running or biking, then you forget what it was that came to your mind. It's really aggravating. But so I do that. So I get it all set up. And then, so when I'm running right now, instead of wearing headphones, this way I can hear traffic and stuff, is I put it in my running shorts pocket. My running shorts, I buy running shorts with pockets on the side because I'm a trail runner. And as you know, trail runners cannot have enough pockets. It's a funny thing. It's a meme from 10 years ago. And what's the other thing? And it's in a Ziploc in my pocket with the speaker pointing kind of forward, and then I can hear my music while I jog and hear traffic. It's actually really cool. Good run, going slow, feeling good. All right, that's it. Oh my gosh. Hey babies. What are y'all doing? All right, I'm with Kai, the mountain biker and roadie. Like, gosh, what was the name of that guy I told you that was the best at that stuff? The caveman, Conrad Stoltz, right? Mm-hmm. He was pro cyclist level roadie, cyclist on-road triathlon, and also Xterra, which is mountain biking. Dude, maybe that's your future. Maybe you could do Xterras. Yeah. Okay, and arrive in an Xterra. He's a big guy too, like you're gonna be. He was 6 foot something. And he, anyway, you said that you got in the car and you said triathlon practice, and y'all are doing biking today. Road bike was your best practice. Was your best bike ride ever, you said?
One of them.
One of them?
One of the best bike rides.
Okay, so why? Tell it to the microphone.
Well, since I've been doing a lot of mountain biking in hills and longish hills and being able to control the bike better, I think I could go faster up and down hills with more speed, having more confidence.
So, yeah, because mountain biking, like I see that gully right down in there? Mountain biking, you'd have to go down that and up that, right? That's insane. Like, it's so hard. And by doing that in practice, but having fun out in the woods while doing it, you've built up really amazing strength in your legs, right? And what I wanted to share with everybody is if you want, like, you're living proof. There's other kids on your team that are freaking awesome. Like Colin is just an awesome cyclist, right? And oh, he wasn't there? Yeah, he was.
He was there, but he just rode around the parking lot because he worked out a lot, and I did the same thing as him.
Not competitive, are you?
No. I was being aggressive.
You're being aggressive?
Yes.
So anyway, look at all the hay on the back of that trailer. Hey. So anyway, you were just crushing it on the hills, huh? Today? Mm-hmm. And you think it's from mountain biking?
Oh, yeah.
So is that your coaching tip of the podcast of the week?
Yes, sir, it is.
What is it again? You gotta frame that and package it as something that makes sense to people. Do what so that you can do what? Go mountain biking so that you can be an awesome road cyclist.
Yeah, what he said.
You say it so you remember it.
Go mountain biking so you can be an awesome road cyclist, like moi.
Right. It's a way to get the hills in, right? Fun. Mountain biking is fun, right? We go mountain biking, we have a blast, right? Mm-hmm. And so it turns out it's actually really handy. The hills you do on mountain biking is really handy to make you an awesome road cyclist, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So now we're gonna go eat, and you feel good?
Yeah. And to all those haters out there, I love y'all.
What? Where did that? Who are all the haters?
Everyone that hates me.
No one hates you, dude. Everybody loves you.
Sure.
You're doing it right. Hey, I was listening to a podcast interview with Shaq earlier today, and he said at first, because he was so big, he thought to get people to like him and respect him, he thought he was bully for a long time when he was in middle school because he was so big, and maybe high school a little bit, and but then he got in trouble for being a bully. He beat up a kid. Not really. He kind of pushed around a kid, and the kid started having a seizure, and the kid almost died. And that scared Shaq into realizing, oh, and his dad was a military police, was a drill sergeant, and his dad had him arrested like he was going into military jail for what he did, so he could get the experience of and his dad was serious too. And then so Shaq says, this sucks. And it could have happened. He could have accidentally killed that guy. You know, when you fight, you can accidentally kill somebody. And so he decided instead of doing that he would be funny and get people to like him by being funny, right?
Let's see.
You got something in your eye?
Yeah.
So Shaq was actually, you notice Shaq is funny all of the time. Like in his commercials when he does that little shoulder dance when he's doing his Icy Hot or whatever the hell.
Yeah, Icy Hot.
Yeah. He does Icy Hot and does some other stuff. He's funny all the time. Well, he's doing that because he used to be many forever years ago bully, and now he's not. He's funny on purpose because he's so big and strong he can actually hurt somebody, you know, right? So you don't have to worry about haters if you're funny. How about that? Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, let's go eat. Out. Bang. Say bang.
Bang!
Thanks, dude.
Where are we gonna go eat?
Whataburger. Oh, we're back. Had a phone call again. All right. So I said, use this as an opportunity. Since you can't run fast, you'll get sick to your stomach. Right? Use the opportunity to run slow. Right? And you I think the first day, you still tried to run fast, right? Because everybody else is running fast.
10 laps.
Yeah. But did you get sick to your stomach the first day?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
That's why I only ran 10.
Okay. So you slowed down, right?
Third day.
After the third day, by the third day, you realized you can't run fast on a full stomach. And so you got to run slow, right?
And it's no matter how much you eat, you'll feel the same each time.
Right. So now you've run slow. And so you hopped in the car, we were talking about stuff. And then you said, Dad, by the way, I wanted to mention that you're really happy about your running right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because you're not sore.
Yeah.
Because you're running slower. And we're tracking our mileage. You and I are seeing who gets the most miles this week, right? And you just asked me, because you're trying to beat my miles. You're like, you asked me if you could run again tonight, right?
Yeah.
Even though you ran at lunch and you just did cycling practice for triathlon.
Yeah.
You still want to go run because you feel that good.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to share that about what's going on with your legs and about how that works with the other people out there that want to go. I was just answered an email question on the podcast. How do I go longer, right? How do I do endurance? How do I do longer distances? It's so hard, right? So based on that, what's your advice? Like we just said.
Go slower when you run.
And bike.
And bike.
And then you'll be able to go, if you go slower, you'll be able to go
Longer.
yeah, farther, longer, and farther. And the key to being a good endurance athlete is miles, right? You want so many miles. You and I looked it up the other day. How many miles do you need to train to be a good Olympic distance triathlete, right?
Mm-hmm.
And as long as you do the miles, it almost doesn't matter how slow you do them. You notice, right? You're feeling awesome.
Already, right
Yeah.
after.
You're building up the endurance.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, so, dude, I'm so glad you realized that on your own.
Mm-hmm.
But it's funny, you kind of had to be forced to, right? To finally to believe it, right? It's kind of like injuries. It's like somebody says, you're going to be injured if you do that. You're going to be injured if you do that. It's like, oh, no, I won't get injured. Then they finally get injured for them to believe it, right?
Yep.
Then they're a big believer in it. All right, man, I'm really proud of you, dude.
Thank you.
Yeah. We'll run after dinner. Cool?
Yes.
Out.
Out.
All right, let's take a break from the show and talk about Amrita Bars, longtime show sponsor, friend of ZenTri, and delicious energy bar maker, Amrita Bars. Let's go over some of the flavors here. So they're about the size of a granola bar, but they're date-based. And instead of nuts in them, they actually have seeds. So if you have a nut allergy, they're A++ for you so that you don't have any problems with that. They're gluten-free. Let me list off some of these flavors, man. And before I list off the flavors, let's talk about how well they work. They are slow-acting, but also easy to digest at the same time, which is kind of like the holy grail. This stuff is really good. Let's see, we have apple cinnamon, apricot strawberry, cranberry raisin, and one of my favorites, mango coconut. And I gotta admit, pineapple chia is also really, really good. That's one of my favorites. So you can get a box of, one of these flavors, or you can get a variety pack, actually. And they also have recovery bars, which are, they're A++ as well. I really like it. So you can get 25% off. Is that serious? Let me double check that. 25% off with discount code AMRITA Team. AMRITA. And that's how you spell Amrita. It's not Amarita. It's Amrita. AMRITA. Team. All one word. Amrita Team. 2017 for the year 2017. That gets you 25% off anything on their site anytime. And you can also get a flat $5 shipping rate if you're inside the United States. That is really, really cool. So I'd like to give a big shout out to Amrita Bars, longtime sponsor. And man, they're just great. I love them. And they are so great. The founder used to, or is a cyclist. I say used to be a cyclist. He is a cyclist. The founder is a cyclist, and he made these so they're actually pretty easy to open on the bike. And I open one up from my jersey pocket and take a bite, and they're soft, and they're easy to eat while on the move, which is so cool. I take a bite, and then I push it back into the wrapper and fold it over and put it back into my jersey pocket, and then another 20 minutes later I might take another bite, and there's a spice in it called cardamom in a lot of them. I don't know if it's in all the bars, but it's in most of them at least, and it's actually soothing to the stomach. So it is amazing how well these go down and how good you feel while eating them while working out. I love having one before a workout, and then the whole workout I feel fantastic and I just have tons of energy. It's really good. All right, so check them out, Amrita Bars, Amrita Team, AMRITATEAM 2017 is the discount code. Gets you 25% off. All right, let's get back to the show. All right, homies, I'm back. Whew, man, you know what? I might take a right-hand turn right here. I might go the long way around. All right, I'm leaving the pool. I'm going to talk a little bit about swimming, but I want to talk about recovery from a race. My 103-mile Grand Fondo semi-self-supported event I did on Sunday. Now, today is Wednesday. On Sunday was really stressful on the legs, you know. The longest I've ridden is 75 miles, so going 103, and of course it's getting warmer. You hear my windshield wipers going. It's getting warmer, it's a little bit stressful, and you know, it's all that, just stress, and sore. But actually, I'm not that sore. The more you do endurance stuff, the less sore you get afterwards. I think a combination of, you know, you're more fit and you're not as dumb about overdoing it. You got longevity in mind a little bit. But anyway, what I did the day right after the race, I had 3 beers, and then I felt like crap after that. I should not have done that. I should have had 1, maybe 2, but somebody handed me a 3rd. And then I found out actually this morning that it was a race, because there was a guy on Strava that was 2 minutes behind me when he finished. So he was in it for the kill. So cool. And that's just some guy that happened to be on Strava. Uploaded his. Turns out it looks like he's from A&M's, lived all over and stuff, and done some races I've done. And see, I went into the race. Lightning. I went into the race not tapered at all. I ran 7-something miles the day before. And, I don't want to do a race review. We're going to do that another time. That's a different part of the show. We're talking about recovery afterwards. So Monday, that was Sunday. I didn't do anything else all day. Monday, I felt pretty good in the morning, and I went to go swim, because swimming is really good to help the legs recover. And it turns out I was right. It actually felt really good. Now, what I did notice was on the swim, we're getting ready to go to the pool, and maybe the night before, like Sunday night, but Monday, I noticed I was a little short of breath every once in a while. That's my personal indicator, and probably a lot of y'all, that you're a bit overtrained, and you need some rest and recovery, is you can't seem to catch your breath a little bit. Of course, I've got asthma, and man, I smoked a lot for quite a few years, which just goes to show you can turn your life around, fix that crap. And so, just sitting there kind of doing nothing, and then you feel like you need to take a big breath, as if you were running and needed to take a breath, but you're not running. You're just kind of sitting around, and you feel the need to kind of take a bigger breath than normal. That's a sign that your body's going, ooh, I'm trying to catch up on oxygen. I could use some more oxygen because I'm tired. So there was that on Monday, and then that was Monday morning. I went for a swim, and I liked it though. It felt really good. The cooling water and the hydrostatic pressure on your legs acts like those compression boots that people pay tons of money for to help their legs recover. You could just go swim. And then Monday night was Boy Scouts, and I sat at work all day, and I sat all through Boy Scouts. Grabbed a chair as soon as I walked in and went and sat in it while the other adults kind of stood. And then after a while, I kind of got up and did stuff. And then Boy Scouts is funny, do all kinds of crazy things. And they do skits, kind of like Saturday Night Live, but they're really dumb skits. They're learning how to do presentations in front of corporate management. And then, yesterday, I decided to go for a run see how my legs felt. And you know, it wasn't until after I was completely done running, hours later in the middle of the day, I was like, oh yeah, I ran. When I started off running, my legs weren't sore. How about that? That's pretty cool. And then that afternoon, which would be last night, I got a message from Emily on my Suunto Spartan. She left the dog inside because it's raining. Last night I got on Zwift, kind of late. I was explaining the Chi gauge theory, which has to do with fields and laws and patterns and logarithms and things like that. It's pretty neat. And it's a really cool science theory. It's what they use sort of to discover the God particle. Pretty neat. And then, on Zwift. So I'm riding around on Zwift, and on purpose I rode the flattish route. Like I've said before, I've hacked Zwift. It's a hack you can go out and do. It's really easy. To always be Watopia, which is the big island. And at first I was listening to some kind of music or podcast or something like that, and I got tired of that. And on Zwift you can choose, which way you're going. There's mountains that are just massive, and then there's rolling hills, and then there's flat ground. You can ride up a volcano. You can do all kinds of stuff. And so I kept it to you can ride really level ground, but you're in tunnels underwater with whales and manta rays and stuff flying around or swimming around. And so I kept it really, really flat, and had a really nice ride. And that's more of letting the legs, now we're on day 2.5 of letting the legs just kind of be even and feeling good, not trying to push it. And you got to watch out after a race. You're overloaded with caffeine. You're real antsy, so you might go out and train more to prove to yourself how awesome you are, and then that's how you get overtrained. That's a really good way to do it. Just digs a big hole. So I've got YouTube on my iPhone. If you get YouTube Red, then it'll play on your phone, and if you turn your phone screen off, it'll keep playing. It's kind of neat. And I put it on Japanese Kyoto music, which is the kind of the Japanese kind of banjo kind of thing. The dong 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 dong, and it's just beautiful music. And so I'm riding around this virtual island, doing all that, and it looks like there's an accident up ahead. That's not good. And listening to this, and then their virtual Zwift software has where it starts raining. So it's raining. It's cool, soothing, and I'm riding around. And then out of nowhere, this guy pops up. You can start the game and say, hey, there's somebody over here. I want to join them. This guy just from like outer space, just bam, ends up right next to me and then right behind me for like 5 miles. Riding right on my butt. If you're listening and you join me because you know who I am, and that was funny. I was laughing to myself, and it took a turn and he went a different direction. It's kind of weird how the software works. And so I'm just riding around on flat ground, and then went to bed. And then this morning, now it's been 48 hours since I swam. So this morning I went and swam again and felt really good. Now we've had these big storm fronts come through overnight, and the situation, have a sip of water. Situation is, the pool I used to swim at would be closed, had to close if it was raining, an outdoor pool. Well, I switched when I got real serious about training for Ironman Canada last year. I got a membership at a pool that is not as, they're both the same amount of not nice. They're just kind of average pools. But it's indoors and grounded. So they let you swim. If lightning struck the pool, you'd probably still die. But they let you swim and pretend like they're not worried about it or think that it's not a problem. And I know what I'm doing. I'm a lifeguard. I know the risks of what I'm doing. I used to be a lifeguard. And so I swim. Oh, and they have better hours and stuff like that. So consistency is what makes you a good swimmer. So on the way to the pool, I had an Amrita bar and then coffee with some fat in it. I'm really working on seeing if I can lose weight and have more energy on doing unopposed sugar. Every sugar carb that I eat, I always make sure I have some fat with it. Try to do that like all the time. And not only does that seem to be working, but that's hard to tell because I've only just started doing that. But I've really noticed by going fat-based in my diet that I've quit having to pee in the middle of running anywhere near as much. And in the middle of biking, and it was 3 o'clock yesterday before I noticed I was hungry. I had lunch, but then until 3 o'clock, until I needed a snack, and just lots of little niceties. And also I've added more salt to my diet, a lot more salt. You know, Himalayan pink salt, you can get in a little shaker, you just buy it at the grocery store, add it to my coffee. Man, I love the taste of that stuff. I think it tastes better than sea salt even. So anyway, I'm in the pool, and swimming along, and I just got even energy, just cruising. And I'm really excited about that. And now we finally get to swimming technique. You all know, I do the thing where I repeat the timer. And so I'm swimming. And what's interesting is instead of trying to swim harder and get in good swim workouts and get more fit in the pool, because you're swimming through water is so thick that the priority is not being fit, and how strong you can get in the pool. Because you're overcoming resistance, the thing that makes you fast over distance, over time, is technique. It is straight up technique. It's probably 75% technique, 25% fitness. Because I've noticed this morning I swam really fast over a long distance and I was barely trying compared to times before. And it's because I keep checking my technique and trying to improve my technique. And consistency. So we go back to, because I'm doing it 3 times a week because I've changed pools so that I can go 3 times a week without it being closed. Like if I was still a member of this other pool, I wouldn't be swimming today. I wouldn't have gotten the chance to swim today because it's lightning and stuff like that. So the consistency lets you work on your technique. Your technique is a bit of straining, so the strain creates flexibility. You're working against your joints so that you get mobility and more flexible and more flat. And let's turn off these windshield wipers. And I just noticed that it's really all about technique. And let me give you an example. Because you're swimming, it's a totally different medium than going through air, right? Running, you don't have to worry about aerodynamics hardly at all. Biking, you have to worry about aerodynamics quite a bit for time trialing, right? But you can still do pretty good, even if your aerodynamics aren't all that great. But swimming, water is 20 times or 70 times or 700 times or something like that more thick than air. So it becomes the dominant factor. And think about it, it's like the difference between flying an airplane and flying through space, right? When you're flying an airplane, you have to worry about aerodynamics, big time. You got to go through a fluid. The atmosphere is actually a fluid, technically. You wave your hand through the air and you can feel it, right? There's resistance. So the shape of the airplane is critical, right? That is the dominant thing, is the shape of the airplane. And then you can fly at whatever 1,000 feet, to make sure you get enough air and all that stuff. But it's the shape of the airplane that gets you what you need. The shape of the wing. If the wing's not a certain shape, you're not coming up off the ground, right? And then compare it to a spaceship. Once the spaceship's in space, It doesn't matter the shape of the spaceship whatsoever. Suddenly, the most important thing is not aerodynamics, it is the airtightness of the spaceship, the integrity of the cabin, right? Way more than in an airplane. In an airplane, you don't have cabin integrity, and you're flying at 3,000, 5,000 feet. All you're going to do is just get more air in and out. It doesn't really matter. Think of like a World War II bomber. They weren't pressurized until they started going really high up. And then, but in a spaceship, the shape of the spaceship does not matter whatsoever. Think of the sci-fi movies where you see spaceships shaped like all kinds of crazy stuff. It just doesn't matter because there's no resistance. And but what does matter is radiation. You got to be shielded from radiation. You got to do something if you want to have artificial gravity, and so that you can walk around because we're used to having gravity. And you got to have cabin integrity to preserve so you can breathe, right? You got to create an atmosphere in there. And so my point being that different things matter hugely when you're doing different things in different mediums. And when you're swimming, if you spend a majority of your time timing yourself and seeing what technique is faster at the same effort, then even once you get good at it, at an easier effort, what is faster at an easier effort? It's really easy to do. Then you'll have huge breakthroughs in swimming. And you can do the same thing. I haven't done this in a while, but I used to do it on the treadmill all the time. Get on a treadmill, warm up, till you get about 15 minutes in, 20 minutes in. Now, with your heart rate, increase the speed, watch your heart rate, but increase the speed on the treadmill and see what you can do with your arms and your gait and your cadence and how you hold your head and how much you lean over and how much you lean back, how much you swing your arms and where you hold your hands. And how fast, if you run on your forefoot or your midfoot or back foot, and what can you do where suddenly at the same heart rate you start running off the front of the treadmill, even though the treadmill is at the same speed. That's more efficient. And you can do that every single workout, and then the next thing you know, you're running a minute per mile faster just by changing up your form at the exact same heart rate. And heart rate is a really good indicator of effort. So same effort, faster speed means you're more efficient, and you can actually enjoy your workout more and your races more. Is people finish an Ironman like pros and stuff, and they're all smiling and happy, and they just did a freaking Ironman. It's because they're efficient. It didn't exhaust them anywhere near as much as it about killed other people. And so anyway, I was thinking about all this. I need to get off the mic, go into W to the ERK. But because I swam this morning, and all the work I've been doing on trying to get more efficient at the same effort, I'm swimming as fast as I ever have, but at a much more relaxed effort, and actually a little bit lower turnover, and just relaxed, a little bit more glide and stuff. By working on my head position and hand entry angle, and getting out of the pool and not being exhausted, and realizing I went just as fast or faster than usual, just by changing up technique, not by working out harder, not by doing mega hard intervals or anything like that. Because in the water, that doesn't matter as much. It just doesn't matter as much. You need to get fit. I said it matters about 25%. But as far as overall speed, because I always say you can work really hard in the water and drown and go 0 miles per hour and drown. It didn't do you any good. So there is truth to this. All right, I need to go inside and get some work done. Check y'all later. Out, bang. All right, we need to mention UCAN. UCAN is a super starch. This is really cool stuff. It's a super slow acting carbohydrate, almost to the point of your body doesn't know what it's doing. It's like I'm getting energy from somewhere. How's this happening? And it's really great for swimming. You want to go swim for an hour and not be needing to, take sips from a bottle on the side. Your coach hits you over the head with a kickboard, like my coach used to do. Quit jacking around. Get back in the water. Quit being lazy at the wall. Keep on swimming. And you can do this, especially in races, right? You're going to do an Ironman. You're going to be in the water for an hour. You're doing a half Ironman. You're going to be in the water for half an hour plus. You're going to be going and going and going. You don't have a chance to drink or refuel out there. You can't drink out of a bottle while you're swimming. Well, you kind of can with UCAN, because UCAN is a very, very slow drip carbohydrate. And so it slowly releases into your system, so you can kind of preload with this stuff before you're going to do something long. It also kind of saves your teeth from all that sugar, right? Because you can power this stuff down. It's actually pretty easy to drink. And then you have energy for like an hour, hour and a half from this stuff. This is really cool. So it comes in different flavors. You have chocolate. You have some stuff with some protein added in if you want that, and some electrolytes added in if you want that. And they also have orange, tropical punch, and all this different stuff. And so what I do is I get up in the morning, I drink. I have a little bit of breakfast, tiny little bit of breakfast, some coffee, and then right before I leave to go to the pool, I drink a bottle of UCAN pretty quickly, and then by the time I get to the pool, you got your energy, you feel nice and good. That's slow release, and it just works, man. It's really amazing, and it's actually helped me break the habit of needing sugar by the side of the pool. I think I've pretty much turned around, pretty positive. I've turned around my needs for sugar by using UCAN. I've become much less sugar dependent and way more fat enhanced metabolism going on, and I did it through using UCAN. The latest thing that I've done with it is one time I did it half the swim, but my latest was I did a full swim, nonstop butterfly for 1 hour after drinking UCAN. 3,150 yards, nonstop, all butterfly, drinking UCAN. Before I got to the pool, chocolate flavored was what I did. And I just swam easy, smooth, and did the whole thing. I posted the workout. You can go check it out. It was crazy. And I plan on doing it more because it was actually fun. It actually wasn't even all that hard. I just kept it easy. And you can do the same kind of stuff, a long, continuous workout, hour and a half, without needing the fuel by pre-fueling with UCAN. Check it out. You go to UCAN's website, and they have the opportunity for you to put in a discount code. If you use discount code ZenTri, ZenTri, all caps, you can get it 15% off. How about that? That's pretty cool. And then they turn around and send a little bit this way to ZenTri itself. And man, if that's not a good advertisement for these guys, this stuff works. It's awesome. I love it. You can get a discount. You can support ZenTri. Get on it. Get on it. Break all that sugar. Break that habit, man. Get on something that's a little bit better for you with some UCAN. All right, let's get back to the episode. Here we go. All right. We are running again. Oh, now we're walking. This is so great because this is a good example. Saw a recording the other day about how awesome I felt. Now I feel like crap. Just to show you, it comes and goes. So make hay, make hay while you can, because you never know where things are going to go. But anyway, I was running and thought I was doing all right, but I just noticed my legs are all, they're not sore, but they're rubbery, like wobbly. Oh, we got somebody here. Hold on. How's it going? And I'm going to switch sides of the street here in a minute. People all up and down here. It makes me not want to talk. I'm self-conscious. But, oh, man. So, You think, oh, rubbery legs, maybe that's good training. One, no. I mean, maybe on rare occasion. But two, definitely not for Brett right now with foot injury, plantar fasciitis. So wobbly legs means weak legs, means bad form. Bad form means relying on tendons instead of muscles. You're weak. That's how you tear the shit up. I got somebody stalking behind me. Man, got a lot of cars now. So with more than a mile, I think, about a mile left, I said, screw this, and started walking. That's what I'm doing right now. I'm walking. Man, that is a frog going right there. I'm walking the rest of the way. Even though it's flat, it's perfectly flat. Just that rubbery feeling in my legs just feels sloppy. Oh, man, it is not good. Oh, and then, everything makes sense. Hindsight. So I started thinking, what was I doing to be running low? And so I weighed myself this morning, and I'd lost a little bit of weight. So I was all like, cool, man, I'm all excited, right? That's good. Lost 2 pounds in like 2 days. Trying to eat middle path, no carbs without fat. And it seemed to be working really good because I lost 2 pounds. But then, man, that means I'm under-caloried, and I've been doing 2-a-days. Whoa, doggies. Oh, baby, you're all right. It scared me. Oh, man. And there goes my watch. It's beeping. Been doing 2-a-days, and I think I'm just depleted, man. And then what else? For dinner, we had spaghetti, but instead of spaghetti, instead of wheat-based noodles, we had those zucchini-based noodles. You can buy them now in a box, all spiral cut. Emily doesn't know it, but we've got a spiral cutter from my raw vegan days where we can slice it up ourselves. We can just get a zucchini and make it. She doesn't need to pay 10 times what we could buy just to pay to buy a zucchini. But it's good, man. So I ate it up, and that does 2 things. That fiber, one, it's way less carbs, and 2, the fiber in those carbs slow down the carbs that it does have. Oh, look, there's Orion. I'm looking up at the sky. Got enough away from the city where we can see the stars a little bit better. Just a little bit, not much. Let's do a real Zen podcast. And maybe, why don't y'all we'll do some silence. Y'all just walk with me while we do silence. Walking meditation. The sounds of Central Texas suburban neighborhood. Coming up on a 4-way stop. That is one loud frog. Or grasshopper, whatever. Holy cow. You may be asking yourself, is this it? Is this really a podcast? And I'm here to tell you, this is triathlon. Late at night, workout gone bad, walking the rest of the way home. Not if, but when it happens to you, this is what it sounds like. And it's all right. There's nothing more. Except the occasional car going by. Street lights. Beep of the watch. Crickets and tree frogs. Busy streets. Quiet streets. There's a wood fence right here. Dragging my fingernail across a wood fence. Got houses with people that put too much stuff in their yard, thinking it's cute. I can actually see the Milky Way. That's cool. This is the beauty of endurance sports. Is when you find the edge of your abilities. Now you're left all alone with nobody but yourself. Wherever you go, there you are. But now you can't avoid it. You can't avoid you when you're by yourself walking down the street at night under the stars. A lot of these stars aren't just stars. They're not. Some of them are planets. I see Mars over there. It's got a little bit of a reddish tint to it. we'll be there soon. But a lot of these are galaxies. They look like stars, but they're not. They're entire galaxies. But from far away, they make a single point of light. Andromeda, it's like that. And you can imagine each galaxy has billions of stars in it. Okay, I'm really close to my house now. Here's that drain that's loud. Think about how when the explorers, like Columbus and Magellan, these guys that were going to go explore the New World, they couldn't see it. You know? But if we go to Mars, or when we went to the moon, but we'll go to the moon more, we can actually see it. It's there. It's right there. You know? You just gotta get your act together to get there. What do you gotta do? You gotta figure out the puzzle. It's a lot like a triathlon where the finish line, you can see the finish line from the start line. Well, how do you get there? Oh man, okay. I think that's it. Gonna leave you guys with the sound of a neighbor's sprinkler. I think it's just running. Some parts of the world are dying for water, literally. You got water here just running down the gutter. There it is. Just spraying. Oh man. We can do so much better, can't we? I keep trying. It gets better day by day. All right, that's it. I'm in my house. Night. All right. Hello? 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 All right, folks. Getting in the SUV here. We're going to do a review of the Apple Airpods. I'm getting in the car. I'm wearing them. I got one in each ear. These are the wireless Bluetooth headphones. Remember when the iPhone came out and they called it the Jesus phone? It was going to do everything. Turned out they were right. Well, these are kind of like the Jesus earphones. Oh, I got mist all over the car. So I took them. Well, I wore them at work most of the day yesterday. And then I went to run this morning. I did not run last night. I went to run this morning. And that was an interesting experience. So I guess we're most interested in working out with them. So I'll start with that. In that it's largely dependent on your ear hole shape and size and stuff. And then I noticed that as I was running, they were, as they got a little bit sweaty, they got a little bit loose in my ears. And somebody told me on Instagram, because I took a picture and posted it, that I had these, that they were, and I'm recording on them right now. So that's the reason that it sounds this way. Now, just that doesn't mean that's the way they sound when you actually do a phone call. That's just the way they sound. But anyway, so I'm running, and they after my ears got a little sweaty on the inside, if you look, they point. If you look on pictures of people wearing them, they actually point down, obviously, but they also point a little bit forward. And then as they get wet, well, that lubes them, and they'll actually start trying to point down a little bit more, I think with the force of gravity and bouncing. Now, while your ears are dry, it is almost impossible to shake these things out of your head. You could headbang to death metal and they would probably stay in, which is really, really cool, which I'll get to in a minute, about wearing them just day in and day out, not working out. So when I'm running, my inclination was to, at first, before they got wet with sweat, I forgot I had them in. I was just listening to some music, and it was so perfect that I forgot I even had them in. Like, you forget that you have them in. I take off my shirt, I just pull it up over my head. Well, it catches on the headphones and rips them out of your head, which is kind of funny, because that shows you that you totally forget that you have them in. And sound quality is, really good and all that stuff. And while once I got sweaty, they started feeling like they kind of wanted to fall out of my ears, right? Which was kind of annoying, but not really. And because it was my first run, it's something that I might end up just learning to feel like it's normal and not really, I might adapt to that and not really worry about it. The other thing is, because they don't have a rubbery wrapping on them, they don't seal out the outside noise. And honestly, that is that's both a plus and a minus, but mostly a plus. If you're working out, sealing out the outside noise can be a problem. But I did notice I had to keep turning up the volume, because as they got wet with the sweat and they started sliding in my ear a little bit, they lost that fit. So the sound quality had gone down. The sound isolation had gone down some, and they weren't blocking out the outside noise. And as I was running alongside a road, the traffic noise was getting to be a little bit much, so I had to turn the volume up so I could hear the talking podcast, Keith and the Girl, that I was listening to. Which leads me to another thing, is that there is no volume controls on them. So you have to do, people are like, oh my God, that's the worst. Well, you've kind of grown used to the volume controls on the things. And it reminds me, when I was a kid in the 80s and we had Sony Walkmans, your volume control was a lot of times a little scroll wheel on the analog scroll wheel. That's what I'm talking about, like an actual wheel on your Walkman. Man, I had the coolest Walkman. It was one of those yellow waterproof ones. Oh, it was so cool. And then somebody stole from me at military school, and I'm still mad at whoever did that, by the way. And so while I'm running, I wear an Amphipod running belt, and in it I've got my iPhone. I got a 5S. That way it's kind of smaller, and it stays in there, and I run with that, and then 2 running flasks filled with water and fuel. This time I had maltodextrin and maple syrup in one of my fuel bottles, and I'm running, taking a sip from the fuel and then a sip from water, alternating every 5 minutes. And anyway, that's another story. So I'm running, and I have to reach down to adjust the volume and push on the side buttons on my iPhone, the dedicated buttons for volume on the side of the iPhone, and through the Amphipod packet thing. And if I was riding my bike, I would be you can feel it because your bike jersey is real thin on your phone, your up and down volume buttons. Well, if they ever get rid of those buttons, we're going to be in trouble. But it'll be coming. We've demonstrated some courage, and we've gotten rid of the buttons. It's like, no, dude, more buttons are better. Dedicated buttons for things are way better. Anyway, so I'm running along, and I'm totally cool with that. And also, at one point, my headphones went nuts, and they go, Siri beeped in, and she goes, I'm sorry, I cannot call that number. I'm like, I didn't dial anything, But it also happened to be at the exact same time I was pushing my amphipod belt, my phone, to the side to get it more behind me because it was kind of jostling off to the side. And I was like, that's interesting. Because somebody on Instagram told me that when they got sweat in his ears, they started doing weird things like turning off and on and shorting out, it seemed like, and dialing Siri, doing Siri commands and dialing the phone. And I'm like, that's not good. And he attributed it to them not being sweat proof enough. And I don't know if that's the case. The interesting case for sure is that they have sensors on them that will auto turn on and off the AirPods if you pull them out of your ears. So if somebody starts talking to you, you just pull it out of your ear and they turn off, which is really smart. It's pretty cool. But that's actually a setting you can turn on and off anyway in your phone. When you get your AirPods, you can. Oh my, what's going on here? When you get your AirPods, you can. I'm gonna look at my side mirror. Change lanes. You can go to Bluetooth and then find your AirPods and click on the letter I for information, and then change some settings in there on your AirPods and make sure that, hey, the car in front of me has a bumper sticker that they're in the same unit of the core that I was in, I think. At Texas A&M. And they have a swimming and diving sticker. Woo! Love that. And a Nationals 2016. Way to go, man. You must be a badass. Anyway, so let's go. There's something else. Oh, you can buy silicone covers for your AirPods that will make them more grippy. And it seems like my ear holes are a little bit too big for them to be moving around like that. So I might buy these little silicone covers that go over them, and then see how that goes. Okay, so that for this podcast, that's my initial review of working out with them. Really, really, really nice. I mean, very, very cool. When I came in from working out, I took one out, and that's their thing, is they can play with just one in your ear. I took one out and left one in, and I was able to keep listening to whatever I was listening to and also participate in the household. And then when it got to be a more of a particular thing I needed to focus on, I would take the other one out and it would stop everything. It was really cool. I think there's something else, but I'll remember in a minute. The other thing is at work, right, or in your daily life. This is really interesting. The way my desk is situated is I have one side of my head facing this hallway where people walk by and stuff like that, but the other side of my head nobody can see it the way my desk is facing. My view is split between looking outside and looking down a kind of sideways out into a hallway kind of thing on purpose. That way I can see both things. And then I like being able to see. Okay. And what was really cool is when people walk by, nobody could notice it because I had one in my ear. And Emily was saying that with being a girl and having her hair down, she could actually wear them, one at least, and have headphones in and it not be overly distracting or obvious to people that you have a headphone in, right? Because it's weird. It's like this gray area where if you have one headphone in, it's kind of acceptable, but if you have two in, then it's a problem. And what there's very few of these out on the market. Bragi, Bragi, makes some as well. I think Samsung makes one. These single-sided headphones, wireless headphones. And the the doors that this opens up of what you can actually do and how it changes your life is a paradigm shift. Paradigm shift is where something is a big enough change where you have to think about things completely differently, right? And you wouldn't really think it outright until you start doing it. I knew it, but that's why I'm so excited about getting these. Having one headphone in changes everything, because you can listen to what you want and you can be entertained, but you can also hear outside. And if they're kind of small, they're not too distracting to the public, so people won't treat you too differently. So you're improving your life without causing too much drama to everybody else. And it's really, really neat. And so I'm sitting there working away, tippy tapping. I'm doing the tapping sound on my keyboard. I'm tapping on my keyboard, adjusting this number and pushing this data set around, and doing whatever I do. Who knows what it is? And somebody comes in my office and they start talking to me. And because I only have one headphone in, I can hear them clear as day as soon as they start talking. Right? I don't have to go, what? Like that. And then have them repeat themselves, which is the most annoying thing that you do when you wear headphones, is having other people repeat themselves when you take your headphone out. So I can hear them clear as day as when they first ask the first thing. So I don't have to ask them to repeat themselves. And as I pull the headphone out of my ear to really focus in on them, which sends a body language signal that I'm really going to pay attention to you right now. You're really important to me, is the signal that sends. Take that out. That pauses the music. So that's the other thing, is these earphones have sensors in them to tell if they're in your ears or not. And you can set it, like I was saying earlier, you can set it to stop playing whatever it's playing if you take it out of your ear. It goes, oh, I'm no longer in the ear, turn off, right? So it pauses whatever you're listening to as you take it out of your ear. And then you sit there and talk to them, and then you put it back in. And that is really, really cool. So my method I'm going with right now is, while I'm at work, I keep one in my right ear. Now that's going to wear down the battery on the right side, right? But then when I'm at home, this is what I'm going with right now, having owned them 24 hours, which means I'm probably totally wrong and it'll have to change. But when I'm at home, I'll try to remember to even out the battery life, to keep one in my left ear, so that I can hear people talking to me and stuff like that when I'm just walking around the house or doing whatever. And that probably should even it out. And apparently the coolest thing is they last like 5.5 hours. But if you're only wearing one lasts 5.5 hours, while the other one is, you're not using it at all. And then you put the one that's worn down, you put it in the charger, and then you can put the other one in your ear, and it's got a full charge. And the thing is the case that they come in is a charger. It's got it's charged up with a battery. And you can, when you put the dead one in it, it starts charging it. You don't have to connect it to a charger. You just put it in its case. And the case is tiny. It's like smaller than a box of Tic Tacs. It's about the same size as a box of Tic Tacs. And that is really cool. Because if you start, and like in 15 minutes in the case, it charges up to another 3 hours worth of use, like within 15 minutes. So you can just alternate back and forth. And I'm sitting there thinking, man, on a really long bike ride or an ultra marathon, you can just listen to one and then swap. When it goes dead, put it back in the case and then listen to the other. And when it goes dead, put it back in the case and then listen to the other. And then when it goes dead, put it back in the case and just alternate back and forth. And that would be really cool. Sorry, looking at text messages on my phone. What a crazy world we live in. Okay, that is it. I need to go in and get stuff done at W to the ERK. Living the dream. All right, out, bang. Oh, it's a few hours later. It's lunchtime, but I just remembered, man, I went back and listened to this audio. It's terrible. Man, I hope the microphone doesn't sound that bad when I'm doing the phone calls. doing the phone call. But there was two other things that are of interest to working out and at home or whatever. Is one, I was worried when I was running with them that they would not pick up the signal. So Bluetooth comes off of your device, like your phone or whatever you're using, and it has to it needs to reach the earphones. And there's a big problem with so many wireless headphones where if you put your phone, um, they suck while running, is basically my point, and maybe cycling, because your body comes between the phone and the headphones and it blocks the signal. Um, and you don't notice it until you're outside actually running, because if you're inside, the signal uh, comes off your phone and then bounces off of a wall, off the ceiling, and other places, other objects, off the inside of your car or whatever, and then hits your headphones, and then your headphones can pick up the signal. But if you're out running, all you really have around you is the ground. There's no other objects near you for the signal to bounce off. And if it bounces off the ground and then back up again, and I'm not making this up, this is real. And if it bounces off the ground and then back up again, your body gets in the way of that. So people have constant dropouts while they're running or on the bike outside and using wireless headphones. And so I was really worried that that was going to be the case with these. I read reports online that this was not the case. They had the Apple headphones had some of the best attenuation and the best antenna on them to pick up Bluetooth signals, so there was very little dropout. And that's been my experience. I ran with them and noticed that there was it's actually kind of difficult to get them to drop out, to find a place. If I covered my phone with my hand, then I could get it to drop out. But otherwise, it seemed to the signal seemed to be picked up by the headphones. Apple's always bragging about their chip that they made in there, but that has something to do with it. Maybe that is. And then the other thing is, when this is not working out, I fell asleep with one headphone in one ear. I think it was my right one, in my right ear. And I woke up hours later with the headphones still in my ear. And I was really surprised. As soon as I woke up, I go, oh man, this headphone fell out of my ear. And now I got to go find it in the bed in the dark because I didn't want to wake up Emily and turn on all the lights. And then I reached up and touched my ear, and there it was. And actually, I was just eating at Freebirds, one of my sponsors. What's up, Freebirds? And I forgot I had them in because they were just in my ears. Because when I initially sat down and started eating my burrito, I was like, oh man, I was feeling self-conscious because where I live right now, these are very uncommon. I've only seen one other person in the wild with these in. And so I didn't want to, be weird or anything like that. So I just kind of was doing my own thing and not looking around me to see if people were looking and pointing or anything. Like, look at the dude, iPad, earphones. And so I said, I'm just going to sit here and just eat my mom's business. And then after a while, I forgot that they were in. So I stood up when I was done eating and I was listening to stuff. I stood up and started gathering my stuff and walking off from my table. And then I realized I was in the middle of the restaurant with these headphones in, with them playing, and forgot that I even had them in, because earlier I was like, I didn't want to be seen. And now I'm right in the middle of the restaurant wearing them and people are looking at me. I'm like, oh yeah, I've got those headphones in. Which, and then I just left them in. And I've noticed that so I've been using wireless headphones, Bluetooth headphones forever, but mostly I've been using the Jaybirds, and the Jaybirds are connected with the cable. And I'm so used to feeling the cable between the two, touch me on my cheekbone a little bit, or touch me on my shirt collar or on my neck. So I'm reminded, sorry, there was a phone call. So I'm reminded that I'm wearing headphones. But with these, the only thing I feel is just the slightest bit of pressure inside my ears, which I actually forget about, that I've got headphones in, and that's it. So I forget that I'm wearing the headphones in, and I think that's actually really cool. I'm sure there'll be a point where, it gets me in trouble, where I do something and forget I have these headphones in, and then I'll lose them or something like that. But that's been it so far. All right, that's it. Oh, wait, there was one more thing. When I took my headphones out for a couple hours today, and then was doing stuff, and then when I put my headphones, I was in a meeting, and then when I put them back in, they make this weird sound, and it's kind of like a low battery sound, a warning sound. So I went and looked, and the battery was almost run down, 5% on one side, probably the side I slept in. And so I was like, I'm going to do this thing, because I was going to go drive to Freebirds, right, to go eat. It's like a 10-minute drive, 15-minute drive or whatever. I put them both in the charger, maybe a 10-minute drive. Not 15 minutes by the time I ordered my food and stuff. I put them both in the charger case and went and ordered, drove there, ordered my food. And then when I sat down to eat, I opened up the case. And if you open up the case while you have your iPhone in your hand on your home screen, on your lock screen, it pops up with your battery charge. It was like 90-something% charged. I was like, holy crap, in like just 15, minutes or so. You gotta remember, the battery inside the headphones is pretty tiny. They're just really efficient. So that's pretty cool. And then I think I was talking about that earlier with Emily, being able to covertly wear one under her hair, just one. I think that is one thing that I just want to keep experiencing and testing out, and I'm really looking forward to seeing if I can get away with that, because, man, to have a headphone in, when you're in a situation where it's not really appropriate to have headphones over your ears, but just to have one little headphone in, so you can enjoy yourself when you're at a place that you're not really sure you want to be at, and it's just not too much. And I'm just really looking forward to that. And it makes me wonder, like, how many times are we in a situation like that? More and more nowadays. We're kind of someplace we have to be, but don't really want to be. So we figure out ways to make it entertaining. And maybe that's a way to do it. All right. That's it. Okay. All right, everybody. That wraps up the show. Thanks for enduring that terrible audio of the Apple Airpods. Again, I had no idea. Anyway, I'm really excited about the next episode. We have an interview with a female pro triathlete that is a very big deal and might have a fantastic result coming up very, very soon. Has had some great results lately, and I'm super excited to have her back on the show. So you're going to have to guess who that is. And hang around until next time. All right, that's it, everybody. Stay safe out there. Work the uphills, cruise the downhills, and keep the rubber side down. Out.